Hello, my name is Lacey Beasley, and I'm doing a speech over making funeral arrangements online. Making funeral arrangements online is a developing trend in the funeral industry today. With all the technology we now have available to us with computers and video chat and anything like that, they have it available to you to make your own funeral arrangements online instead of meeting in person. Making arrangements online has many great aspects and advantages. Online funeral arrangements also have disadvantages as well. Some of the advantages to making your funeral arrangements online can be making the arrangements on your own time or making them fit into your busy schedule, because we all have different schedules to work around and different things to do on a daily basis. So doing it online makes it easier to fit in with your schedule and what you're doing, and you can make it the way that you want it made. You can also choose the amount that you want to pay. You can choose what you want. You can choose how you want it done. You can choose what kind of music you want. You can choose anything. You don't have to have someone talking you into a certain thing or trying to convince you of something that you may not necessarily want. So that's an advantage to making funeral arrangements online. The disadvantages to making funeral arrangements online are you don't have the help of a professional funeral director to assist you in everything that you might not know about making funeral arrangements. So that's a disadvantage, because not everyone knows what a funeral director would know about making funeral arrangements. So you kind of need help if you don't really know what's going on. So that's a disadvantage, because you don't have someone to help you there. You don't exactly know what type of product you're going to get or the quality of the product that you receive, because you don't have that professional there to tell you about it or show you what you're kind of getting yourself into. And with making funeral arrangements online, there's always a chance that the site could be fake, or your funeral arrangements may not go through, or you don't have that paper in your hand saying, this is what I want. You don't have that person there that witnessed you making the funeral arrangements. You always have that chance that something may not be exactly the way you want because it didn't submit right, or they didn't get the form, or things like that. So you always have that chance of something happening with it being online. Making funeral arrangements online can make things a lot easier, but it can also make things more difficult depending on how much you know and how you exactly want it done, or your knowledge of the type of things that you may want, or your merchandise, or just how funeral arrangements should go. So that might be, depending on how much you know and yourself, it could be easier or more difficult depending on just different aspects of it. Having the power to make your own funeral arrangements online whenever you want or please is a great quality to having them online. But making arrangements online for your funeral don't let you have someone there to help you through the process. You don't have someone that's knowledgeable in all of the things that you need to know for your funeral arrangements there with you. So you're not exactly sure what to do or how to do it, or if you're doing it correctly, because you don't have a professional there to help you. So depending on what you know and what you need done, it can be easier or it can be more difficult depending on what you know and how much you know and things like that. There's also no funeral director there to give you vital information and things you might need to know to plan your funeral, so that can make things more difficult. And to make these funeral arrangements online, most funeral homes have a website that you can visit. And on the funeral home's website, there is more than likely a section that's dedicated just to making funeral arrangements online. And they may have a form. If you click on that designated area, they may have a section that tells you just exactly how to make those online funeral arrangements. There might be a section, or there might be a certain form or a link that you click on to get to that funeral arrangement process. But it also depends on your funeral home site, or if you're going through one that's just for making funeral arrangements. You can go through a funeral home site itself to make your funeral arrangements, or there's also a website called mywonderfullife.com, and it shows you how to make the funeral arrangements and lets you go through the process of making your online funeral arrangements without having to go through a funeral home website. So it's all on your choice and what you choose, if you'd rather go through a funeral home site to be on the safe side, or if you want to go through a different site. That's all on you. You get to choose. And some of the forms that you fill out, they can be step-by-step processes, or you can complete the whole form on just one page. It really depends on what website you go to and what funeral home website you go to, depending on what the funeral home likes or what they choose on their website. Depends on what kind of form you're filling out. It can be step by step, so you do one section at a time, which I think is easier because it kind of explains what you're doing and you have time to think about it, and you don't have to fill it out all at once and get overwhelmed. But that's just my personal opinion. It's all up to you guys. Everyone's different, so it's up to you. And to make the funeral arrangements online easier, they have forms that have been specifically made to help everyone understand how to fill out the forms, because everyone's different. Once again, some have an easy time understanding forms and papers, and they do that on a daily basis. Others of us don't really understand sort of what's happening, so they try to make you understand and make it easier for you to fill out these online funeral arrangements. And they have this done because you don't have the presence of a professional funeral director on your side. They're not sitting there with you telling you what to do, so they made the forms easier to understand so you could do this on your own, which is why it's called online funeral arrangements instead of sitting in with a funeral director helping you along with the process. With technology constantly improving, we now have the capability to video chat with a professional funeral director while you are filling out these forms if you need it. Some websites don't have this and some websites do, depending on what you choose. If you think you can handle it, you don't have to video chat with them, but they have that there just in case you do need them, or you need an opinion on something, or you don't understand something. So they do have that available to you to video chat with a professional funeral director to help you along with the process. And they actually have a tour, a virtual tour that helps you through the process of making funeral arrangements. And this is the website you go to, https://www.mywonderfullife.com/what_is_mwl/tour/. So that website, that URL is to a virtual tour of making online funeral arrangements. I think that that video comes in handy if you don't exactly know what you're doing. So I would definitely take a look at it before you start making your funeral arrangements online. And I feel like I would use the online funeral arrangements. I think they're useful to people that don't really have the time to sit in and make an arrangement with a funeral director. So I think they're a good thing, but I would definitely use the video chat as well, especially if you don't exactly know what you're doing. So I think online funeral arrangements are a good thing, especially with the video chat, because you're not you're doing it alone, but you have help if you need it. So I think that's a good thing. In conclusion, funeral arrangements can be made online with the new technology that we have today. And making online arrangements has its pros and cons, just like anything else in life. And many funeral homes have online arrangements that are options, as is a developing trend in the funeral industry. And making funeral arrangements online or in person, it's all up to you. You can choose whatever you want. You can call a funeral home or choose a funeral home and make arrangements with them in person, or you can go to their website and see if you can do it online. It's completely up to you. You're your own person. Do it however you choose. Thanks.